Hello everyone and welcome. Today we'll be taking a look at a highlight best-of-3 series of professional StarCraft 2. Joining me here for map number 1, we're on Persephone, the upper left corner, a blue Protoss, a player, it is Skillous. And their Zerg opponent here, the bottom left, the red drones of Rogue. The Drogues. No, we can't even make that one work. Welcome, everyone, to the Best-of-3, a PVZ, a ZVP, depending on your personal preference, your flavor of choice, of course. Either way, we see a bit of antics already. The probe successful in a hatch block. Rogue seems more than content, more than willing to just take the third base. Is he gonna cancel it though? Because we can't 100% rule that out. Not too certain of the decisions just quite yet. And I will say actually that this particular matchup, I'm a little more excited for this one just because I don't know really anything much about Skillous. This match was recommended to me more based on something that Rogue does, but getting to see perhaps Skillous in action has me a bit intrigued to see what kind of Protoss this fine player is. Are they a shield toss, a sword toss, a side blade type of sword toss? We will get to see. So far, of course, PVZ, we all know at this point, the matchup, it takes a minute to get really up and running, to get things going. That Cyber Core has to finish. We'll see what the tech choice is for the Protoss once that is done. Rogue, as the Zerg player, of course, is going to just want to make a bunch of drones at this point, get that economy rolling, get a third hatch, I would wager. The lings are on the way now. He's going with 6 and prioritizing that lings speed, so at least we'll probably get to see a little bit of usage of the Zerglings. They might do just slightly more than hunting down this particular rude probe. Ooh. Actually, they might not care about hunting down this probe at all. A couple of Zerglings go out, heading towards the other side of the base. The 4 lings, this is normal. What Skillous is seeing right now, perfectly reasonable. What is not so normal and reasonable, the extra 2 Zerglings that are out on the Protoss' side of the map. We see the tech choice, by the way. We said we were waiting on. Stargate is the choice. Very normal, very versatile. Nothing unusual going on for the Protoss, at least. The Zerg, though, it's another question. Another fine problem. Now, 2 Zerglings, of course, I'm amping them up. This is so not an actual issue. Not even... Do they get the probe? No. Rogue? Oh my gosh. He's going for it. No. The friends get there to help out. The Adept comes home. He winds up losing 0 probes. Nothing for it. Well done. The Adepts on the other side get a couple of drones. 3 drones in total. Nothing too major. Sacrificing both of the Adepts, that's a little less than fun. Not quite ideal, but you also have to state that that's a fair amount of Zerglings, a little bit more than what 2 Adepts is slightly prepared to handle. Oracle is on the way for the Stargate again. Very normal, very versatile opener. Won't get to see a whole lot of what Skillous is planning for a moment. Too busy dealing with what Rogue is trying to pull off. Just, the Zerglings are here, I think, just to keep the Protoss honest. More than anything else, really. It's to make sure that this third base doesn't get to go up for free. Essentially, with 0 defenses. There is an Adept here. Looks to be on hold position. Not quite ready, though. Gets to a solid spot with the minerals. The Oracles have to come back. This is what Rogue was wanting. Rogue was using those Zerglings ideally to pull the Oracles back, to force them to turn on the laser. That costs energy, and that is precious energy that is not being used at the drone line here. Gives Rogue a bit of time to maybe get creep tumors down, get queens into position. That tumor suffers a terrible fate. Oracle getting a little low. Not going to find any opportunity, any opening at the third there. The Adepts will shade into the natural. Complete? They will complete immediately. Target fire down a couple of drones. If only this could have been timed with the Oracles at the same time. Oh, Zergling running some solid interference there. The one queen desperately trying to take out this Adept. She does get one more drone. 6 drones in total there for what the Adepts have taken out. 14 Zerglings, the Oracles thus far, wherever they went. They went back home. That's rather unsuccessful in their attempts. But they're both just still kind of gearing up to whatever their mid-game plans are. I believe I saw a Roach Warren. Yes, I did see Roach Warren. Lair is on the way for Rogue at this point. The battery really putting in some serious work trying to keep these probes alive. The Oracle's forced home yet again. Rogue's been doing great, I will say, at keeping the Oracles away from Rogue's side of the map. Just a group of sacrificial Zerglings here and there has been more than enough to keep the Oracles at bay. Skillous, though, looking rather adept at using Adepts to do a bit of damage nonetheless. Take out a couple more drones, get some damage on the Queen, call it a fine day there. Next opportunity looks like is going to be a Prism. Do we have Storm? We do not have Storm. At least not yet, I will say. Oh dear. Archons are found. Prism is discovered as soon as they're done merging. It can be picked up, so they will still be alive, but the Rogue knows the attack is coming now. Queen's able to get into position. Spore Crawler's going to shift and shimmy around. With the Roaches ready for defense, too. I'm going to say not a whole lot of opportunity for the Archons. No Storm. I'm intrigued in that decision, actually. We recently had a lot of changes surrounding Storm, of course, as I'm sure many of you remember the clickbaity titles and exciting thumbnails of massive changes coming for SC2. Spire, another one of those changes, albeit slightly less massive, is a little bit cheaper to get. Storm, the big one in question, though, now lasting a fair bit longer, dealing less damage with each tick, but more damage overall, thereby punishing anyone under the platinum level that's not able to quite move out of the Storm area. The Archons completely slaughter the group of Zerglings caught in the stasis ward. Rogue is ready with another wave, it seems. But Skillous is just building up quite a solid army at this point. Not going for really the Storm, like I said, and no Robo-Colossi or Disruptor choice. So right now, the only real splash damage is going to be Archons. An interesting choice. A couple of Phoenix show up. Is this because of the Spire? Skillous aware of wherever the Spire is. Skillous is aware. Did see the Spire go down, wanting to preempt. It would appear any potential Muta choices for Rogue. Speaking of which, 0 so far. So far the Spire, there we go, okay. Spire no longer decorative, will actually be used to make a few Mutalisks, so the choice for Phoenixes plus Archons really is going to make the Protoss army untouchable by Mutas. The question is, where else will the Mutas go? As, of course, most of you familiar with Mutas know, they generally shouldn't be fighting the main army unless they are just in such superior, overwhelming numbers that they can take a bad fight. Because most fights for Mutas are bad fights. They're much better at harassment, going around, picking off workers, picking off pylons, powering things, wedging themselves into places they probably didn't belong, and then getting out without much detection. They're massing over on the far left side. Skillous using these Phoenixes rather aggressively. He's going to actually lose one, potentially 2 here. 3 go down. Rogue with a fantastic catch by those Mutas, as Skillous getting a bit too far onto the Zerg side of the map, getting caught at that creep. Means the Mutas are going to be able to swing in there, get a little Bit of a surprise attack. 11 drones picked off. Rogues still suffering some worker losses. They're both relatively even, I will say, but the problem might be the army coming up. The battle is coming near. The mutas getting a bit of damage done, picking off the assimilators at the natural area, forcing some defenders, forcing some reinforcements, but also forcing the attack. This is 8 Archons. That's a lot of Archons for... We've got barely really much of a ground army. It's a bunch of just Zerglings and Roaches. Archon Immortals should completely flatline this, right? Well, the Arc is looking really solid for Rogue so far. The Archons respond, start getting into actual combat range. The Immortals do not care at all about the Corrosive Vials. The Micro was just not there, but it so does not matter. The army completely crushes. The Warp Prism still intact for reinforcements. Skillous with the impressive decision of Archons, and we're good. That's really all that was needed, apparently. Shutting down the mutas back at home, shutting down the Zerg defenders on the other side. Skillous is going to take map number 1. Map number 2 in the series shall be Ley Lines here. The upper right corner shall belong to the victor from map number 1. Got to be feeling good with such overwhelming power. It is Skillous. And the Zerg player in the bottom left here, do not underestimate his capacity for shenanigans. It is Rogue. If anybody can, I would absolutely say it's Rogue, of course. Could bring it back. Get a bit of damage done. Probe, speaking of damage, likewise. Rogue not afraid to pull a drone, actually, to just keep the probe slightly in check. Their speeds, sadly similar. Yes, the drone can only catch the probe if the probe lets the drone catch them. Successful in another hatch block, so clearly Skillous likes to do that kind of opener. Get that probe out there as soon as possible, get it across to the other side, block that natural location. The nice thing about that choice for Protoss, in case you're like, why would you do that? You know, what's the real goal there? Are you delaying the Zerg? Part of it, of course, is a mental thing. You're knocking the other player off balance, so to speak, especially if you're someone playing lower levels. Doing that kind of block can be rather damaging. People generally have their set build, their thing that they want to do in the order they want to do it, and if they get thrown off of that, it can have a cascading effect, of course. It destabilizes them. So that is one factor. You're just causing a bit of grief to your opponent. The other thing, though, the more actual balance and technical thing is, this forces the Zerg to saturate this outer base first, generally speaking, unless they're psychotic and take the natural immediately, go, triple hatch, no pool, and start droning wherever they please. That is a possibility, but we'll call that an outlier. Most Zergs at this point are going to drone up, they're going to saturate this outer base, which is easier for you to access and harass as the opponent. So say Skillous is feeling aggressive, Skillous is feeling confident after map number 1 and decides, you know what, instead of this boring, bland, normal Stargate, I'm gonna go Twilight, let's get Adept Glaives. Let's go for something really aggressive, gonna get a Prism, get some Adepts together. They suddenly have a lot easier time getting into where the drones actually are. It presents an easier opportunity for getting that damage done versus having to go into one of the more further back bases, generally more well defended. You follow the drift, I'm sure. You're a smart Grandmaster Metal Leaguer, okay. The Adepts, they get into the main. I would say find a whole lot of damage, pick off a few drones here and there, force the Zerglings back. Just a bit more of the same that we saw from map number 1, really. Likewise, of course, Rogue is starting off making a bunch of Zerglings, got Zergling speed, and is probably going to continue being a problem for the Protoss, making Zergling-shaped fires. I'm sorry. It had 10 health. I saw 10 health at one point. Okay. Skillous, the confidence in being able to dismantle that. Okay. Like, that would have absolutely been a cancel. As soon as those shields were gone for me, nope. But this is exactly why. They're the pros, right? Making those decisions. They know, they're confident, they got this handled. Oracles fly their way right into the natural, find 0 drones at the current moment, just a bunch of queens and a spore. Say, well then, have a nice day. I will take my leave now. What I was talking about, you saturate the outer base first. I would have expected Skillous to maybe come in from this angle if they were trying to get a bit of damage, but maybe they thought Rogue would do the opposite. Maybe they're like, well, Rogue's a bit of a brainy Zerg kind of gamer, okay? They're up to no good, so to speak. Maybe Rogue did drone up the Natchery. Not the case, though. Just follow the oracles around. We are seeing, I'll say, slightly different choice so far for Skillous, going for Blink. I don't remember getting Blink last time. I don't even remember seeing a single Stalker, now that I mention it. Instead, we went for the faster Templar Archives, whip out way too many Archons, and have a grand day. This one's going to go a little bit differently. Stalker Blink on the way, the Adepts continuing to shade in. Recall attempted. Will be successful for 2. I'll call it 1 and barely 1 Adept. Only 8 health left. Medic. 28 Zerglings on the way now for Rogue, who looks with the 40 melee attack burrow. Unusual combination there. Rogue appears to be going for something very Zergling centric, Zergling heavy. No Roach Warren, right? No. The Zerg in me is perplexed, is intrigued. Going for something Zergling heavy composition. The battery is here. Beautiful warp in to protect the probes for a moment longer. Some Zerglings do wrap around, get on top of the battery. Out of energy, out of hope. Energy overcharge used on the Oracle. Well then, okay. Stalkers on the other side, contested by just a handful of Zerglings. Could blink. Could blink. Could blink. There we go. Got reinforcing warping. We've got a forward gateway here. That's a speedy pylon, Lester. Faster type of crystal. Good reception. You know, ain't that kind of dial-up pylon mess that we got back on Marsara. Nope. Hatchery starting to feel the weight of the pressure, but that's a lot of Zerglings respond to the defense here. Do we have a recall? The cooldown might still be active. The Stalkers get into a decent position. The Oracle is trying to help out. They don't. One of them's quite low, but they do have a bit of energy still to try to get things done. Gosh, what the amount of Zerglings, they just keep coming. The Stalkers count is dwindling down to a mere 4. Did I hear a recall on something else, really? No, it may have been the warp bin. Okay. I heard Protoss noises. Not too convinced what that was. Rogue was just pumping Zerglings, continuing to mount that up. How many have we had? We're already over 150 at this point. The Zerglings get into the mineral line here. Battery, once again, trying its darndest to help out the probes. Mineral walking their way to safety. Stalkers respond to the defense, blinking forward. Blunk, rather successful. Revelation tag. This is why Rogue got Burrow. It's just to be extra annoying. It's doing this kind of stuff. Okay, Burrow. You thought Burrow was for something like in combat? No. Nonsense. Forces out the little bit of detection, does whittle down the energy of the Oracle, sure, so it could have some type of indirect effect, but no. The goal is just to be annoying. It's just to be rude. That's an Overlord. That is not a Zergling. Stalkers seem a bit fed up with this whole mess and shenanigans, just kind of walk right down the middle lane going onto the creep. This is a lot of Zerglings, though. Like, yes, you have Blink, yes, you have ranged attacks, but I'm not sure you have much hope here. Again, rather strongly holding out on the recall finally goes out. We'll be able to get some of the Stalkers out, but the losses are mounting. Protoss has actually lost a bit more, despite really, it's just Zerglings. +2 attack is nearly completed. Hive just finished up, so we're probably going to see Adrenal started up, I would say, very shortly. Just make the, yeah, we're putting them on the drugs. We're giving them the stims, okay. Adrenal glands active. Upgrade in progress. +3 attack, I would wager, quickly to follow, wherever it is. We're also begrudgingly getting a Baneling nest, it feels. Yep. +3 attack on the way. No care about armor. Rogue is just going full-blown aggro with this. Like, but why? It's like, but what if I only make Zerglings? And can I win an SC2 tournament using only Zerglings? That would probably make for a solid video concept, a contribution there. But unfortunately, Skillous, it would appear, has remembered the existence of Templar and Archons. So we'll start to see, perhaps, get an actual composition that is better at shutting down Zerglings than just a bunch of sad Blink Stalkers. Might start to see this go a bit more the Protoss' way. Right now, I'm quite liking Rogue's position, personally speaking. Centrifugal hooks on the way. The counter play will be Storm. We'll actually get to see, perhaps, a couple of storms. See how much longer they last. The Category 17 hurricanes that we're working with now. Oracle. Just doing a bit of checking around. We're Ultralisk Cavern, a rare treat, but not so rare when you consider the composition so far. Rogue's been favoring this melee attack heavy composition. So we're going to see Zerglings, we're going to see Banelings, we're going to see Ultralisks. Probably not a whole lot else, though, if I had to wager a guess. Of course, Roach Hydra, not looking to make an appearance. I would like to see something incredibly absurd. Show me Broodlords, because we're like, well, Broodlings get melee attack upgrades. Yes, they do. You fine and beautiful viewer, you are correct in that. But I kind of doubt that Rogue's going to go that route. Storm completing. Now, Adrenal finish? Yes, Adrenal did finish. +3 attack, slightly behind it, of course, taking a fair bit longer. Creep Tumors in peril, under pressure. The Burrowed Zerglings. Rogue's map vision, actually. Appreciate that mini-map for a second. That's Rogue's vision right now. He can see pretty much everything he wants to see. As soon as Skillous leaves the base, Rogue is going to know about it. And the Zerglings will be ready to pounce, it feels. +3 attack finishing up. Chitinous about halfway done. The Ultralisk count starting to rise. They both getting all of their ducks in a row, so to speak. The compositions are getting together. Skillous added on, of course, a few Templar. We've got 6 un-Archoned Templar, I'm guessing, to just build up Storm energy. It's mostly Charge Zealot right now, though. I would like to see a few more Archons added in, just to add a decent, front line. But at this current point, I think a lot of it's going to come down to the Zealots and the Storms. The Banes attempting to get a bit of damage on the workers, unsuccessful so far. Zealots hold the line on the far right here. Changelings start to show themselves. Will they reveal themselves, though? Not quite. At least not quite yet. Interesting placement on this Immortal. Hold the line. Immortal, not usually the pick for shutting down Zerglings, but of course we know there's a little bit more than just Zerglings going on in this composition, and the Immortals will be fantastic at helping to shut them down. The Ultras, a bit more of the vulnerability for that. The Immortal, if it somehow could actually tank a few Baneling hits, would be a really nice decision too. But I'd be a little surprised if Rogue just let them run amok. If Rogue just let them kind of do their thing and run into whatever they see. You want to Oh. Well, I'll drink to that. That's a lot of droppers. That's a lot of dropper lords coming up. A lot of Zerglings loaded up in here. Where are they going? Main. Rogue just is going straight for the main base, has hit that max supply, is calling it good, adding on the Nidus network behind this. Skillous now just starting to move out. Feels maxed out his own army. Will this prove to be a disastrously timed decision, though the Zerglings start to drop in the main? A recall goes out. What is being called home? Mostly Zealots, it would seem. And not quite even in the best of positions to be able to form a wall. The couple here left behind are still doing fine. A reinforcing warpin has to be called. Meanwhile, the army at the front, the Banes starting to roll in. Storms go out, getting quite a bit of damage on the Banes. The Immortals are left over, which is bad news for the Ultralisks. Rogue moving in over here gets caught by a stasis surrounding the Immortals. The Banes helping out, locking everything down. A lone Ultra survives the engagement. Reinforcements now needed from both sides. What are they making? Generally more of the same. We got 5 Archons merging in. 4 Ultras, whole boatload of Zerglings. Rogue's out of Larva, though that's a problem. This is a larva-hungry composition that Rogue is working with. A beautiful surround from the top side. Their forces are so spread out. The Storm, decent, works down some of the Banelings. Ultralisk actually dies to a Storm. Feels a little unusual. Don't attack it. Don't attack it. It's a Nidus network. Rogue, calm down. Worm attempted to go up in the main. He backed them up just so they could charge again, really. A couple more Zealots respond. That worm is so not happening. Rogue not going to have the success he was hoping for. You have to get everything out of the worm at this point. It's just decorative. It's not helping out. Forces in the bottom right here. Rogue feels like has them on the army supply, but just not quite finding any real opportunities. The army for Skillous, if I can even call it that, responds to the defense here. Reinforcements for the Zerg. Meanwhile, another drop taking place. The Ultralisk, the commander of the operation, of course. Stuff's not even powered. Skillous hasn't even made a replacement pylon here. Now with the defenders, should definitely be able to get a worm up and running. More Zerglings hitting the base. Skillous just kind of being pulled apart every direction. He's got a decent army together. The problem is it is not fast. It cannot be in all of these places at once. The main base on metaphorical fire here. The worm completes. The front being tested. A couple of Ultras. More than a couple of Ultras. Immortal putting its name to the test. Found. Successful, but mostly because the Ultras get distracted by anything shiny nearby, finding whatever else they can focus on instead of their actual task. The Archon Immortal combo shredding through the Ultras, I will say. Anything that Rogue actually commits to fighting with the Ultras, it seems like they're just paying the price. Where are the Zerglings? Okay, we've got a lot of Zerglings back at home. But Skillous has actually managed some semblance of defense and is going to get all of these forces together. And I fear for the Zerg army at this point. The Archon count at 5, the Immortal count at 9. 9 Immortals are absolutely going to tear through 6 Ultras. The Banes rolling into the Archons, absolutely no effect whatsoever. Some Zerglings get in on the other side, but this Protoss army is just looking untouchable. There's nothing here. Rogue's not able to mount any semblance of defense. He's gonna get some damage done over here, but at what cost? He's in the natural now. The Protoss Immortal Archon army proving itself yet again. A last hurrah. 3 Ultras show up. A couple sassy, sarcastic fungals. No way, Jose. Some Zerglings show up, might actually have more effect. They pick off a Templar, but it is not going to be nearly enough. Skillous proving his worth, proving his name, will be successful in taking the best-of-3 2-0, despite Rogue's insane amount of Zerglings through that last one. Can I get a Zergling count, actually? Can we see this? 656 Zerglings lost. That's just what was killed. What was in production? 660, 22 active, nearly 700 Zerglings over the course of the game. Madness, I'd say. Complete and utter bonkers. If you enjoyed, be sure to let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great day.